Story 1. It all started on July 5th. The sun had long set and the city was settling into its nightly rhythms. I was sitting in my small apartment, winding down for the night, when my phone rang. The caller ID displayed FedEx, which struck me as odd. I didn't recall ordering anything recently, and even if I did, FedEx wouldn't be calling me. They would just deliver the package. But the person on the other end of the line seemed to know my name and address, which only added to my confusion. I answered the call, hoping for some clarity. "Hello?" I said, trying to keep the suspicion out of my voice. "Good evening, Mr. Robinson," a deep voice replied. "This is FedEx calling regarding a package for you." My mind raced, trying to think of any possible explanation for this call. Maybe a lost package was making its way back to me, but that didn't make sense either. Why would FedEx call so late, and why did this person sound so serious? Before I could question further, the caller hung up, leaving me with a whisper of doubt lingering in my mind. Something about this whole situation felt off, but I pushed it aside and tried to go back to my evening routine. Little did I know, that phone call was just the beginning of a series of events that would change my life forever. The next evening, my anxiety only grew stronger, when another call came in, directing me to a nearby roundabout where my unit supposedly couldn't be found. I knew something was off. My dad could sense it too, and we both took to patrolling the area together. The air was thick with tension as we made our rounds, but we found nothing until the third trip around, when a dark gray SUV loomed in the shadows. We confronted them, but they denied any involvement in the mysterious delivery. Yet, as soon as they were spotted, they vanished into thin air, leaving behind an eerie silence that sent shivers down my spine. On July 6th, the doorbell's persistent ring shattered the evening calm. Two strangers, young and insistent, knew my name and beckoned me outside. My heart raced, a primal fear creeping into every thought. "This isn't right," I told myself, retreating from the door. The police were called, but what comfort could they offer against an unseen threat? The relative quiet of the next day did little to calm my frayed nerves. I felt eyes on me, watching and waiting. As the days crept closer to July 8th, my unease grew with each passing moment, and on that fateful day, my worst fears were confirmed. A masked figure, captured by my state-of-the-art security camera, prowled along the edges of my property like a predator hunting its prey. It seemed to be documenting every inch of my home, as if marking it for some unspeakable purpose. We immediately reported the incident, but the shadowy threat remained, looming ever larger. Then, in the dead of night, a faint noise pulled me from my restless sleep and towards my balcony. Peering into the murky darkness, I came face to face with the intruder. My heart pounded in my chest and icy chills raced down my spine as I realized the full danger I was in. Frantic screams erupted from my throat, summoning my family to my side. The reality of the situation crashed down on me like a tidal wave, filling me with fear and panic. I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that settled deep in my bones. Even within the walls of my own home, I couldn't escape the sense of danger looming around every corner. My mind raced with all the potential threats and worst-case scenarios, sending shivers down my spine. I was not safe, not even in the one place I should feel secure. Fear had become an unwelcome companion, always lurking just beneath the surface. Now, as July 9th dawns, sleep remains an elusive dream. Questions swirl through my mind in a relentless torrent. Am I the target of some twisted game? How did they find me? What do they want? Each creak and whisper in the night might herald their return, and I'm left to wonder, to wait, and to worry. My home, once my sanctuary, has become the stage for a relentless siege of fear, and I'm the unwilling star of this macabre show. Story 2. At 52, I found myself on a routine drive to an out-of-town job assignment. My journey brought me to a bustling Boussi's to refuel and refresh. As I stretched my legs and grabbed a snack, my path crossed with a developmentally disabled woman in her mid-20s, her eyes reflecting a mix of confusion and distress. She explained her ride had cruelly abandoned her while she was in the restroom. Without a phone or any remembered numbers, she seemed utterly alone. The store employees confirmed her story. She'd been there for over an hour, desperately seeking help. That's when I made a decision that went against every cautionary tale I'd ever heard. I offered her a ride. I wasn't headed to her destination, but I could drop her off at a grocery store in the next town, a place bustling enough to ensure she wouldn't be stranded. She agreed, relieved. But as we set off, I noticed a van in the rearview mirror, its presence persistent and unnerving. The woman, seemingly innocent, asked to play with my phone. I refused, sensing something was amiss. Her behavior shifted suddenly. She remembered her boyfriend's number and insisted I call him, but I couldn't. Not while driving, and especially not in an area plastered with no cell phone uses signs. "We'll call from the grocery store," I assured her, but her demeanor darkened. She demanded I take her home, her agitation mounting as the van loomed closer. My heart raced. The situation was spiraling. Pulling into the grocery store's lot, the chaos of the late afternoon swirling around us, I attempted to calm her, but she couldn't remember the number she'd so urgently needed to dial. She refused to leave the car, her words colliding with mine as the van slid into a nearby space. In a moment of desperation, I caught the eye of a sheriff's deputy. I explained the situation, my voice barely a whisper, revealing the unsettling pursuit of the van. The deputy intervened, sternly informing the woman that it was time to leave. Her reaction was chilling. She denounced having a boyfriend and pointed to the van, calling the occupants her friends. The deputy's demeanor changed instantly as he radioed for backup, his hand hovering near his holster. His words were terse, but the message was clear. This was a dangerous situation. The police officer's hand shook as he unholstered his gun, pointing it at the van. "Step out of the vehicle," he shouted, his voice quivering with adrenaline and urgency. The driver revved the engine, attempting to flee, but they were quickly surrounded by several police cars, sirens blaring and lights flashing in a dizzying display of authority. The van's occupants were quickly apprehended and their true intentions revealed. As it turned out, the woman had been targeted by a human trafficking ring, lured in by promises of friendship and love before being coerced into sexual slavery. If not for my chance encounter at Busey's, she could have become another statistic in a dark and disturbing industry. In the aftermath, I couldn't help but reflect on my decision to offer her a ride. It went against everything I'd ever been cautioned about, but it also led to the rescue of someone in desperate need. It made me think about all the other small decisions we make every day that can have ripple effects we may never even be aware of. How many times have we ignored an inner nudge to do something kind or helpful? How often do we dismiss our gut instincts because they go against societal norms or personal fears? I realize that sometimes breaking out of our comfort zones and taking risks can lead to unexpected and even life-saving outcomes. And while not every situation will turn out as this one did, it reminded me to always listen to my intuition and extend a helping hand As I continued on my journey that day, grateful for my safe encounter with this woman, I couldn't help but wonder how many others like her were still out there waiting for their own chance encounter with someone willing to take a risk for their well-being. From that moment on, I promised myself that I would never again ignore a call to action or dismiss an opportunity to help someone in need. You never know whose life you may end up saving with a simple act of kindness and bravery. I turn on a true crime show and see a story about this woman and her accomplices. The thought sends shivers down my spine. So, to the woman seeking a ride and the shadowy figures in the van, let's never meet again. Story 3. Without fail, every Friday evening, I would briskly stride from the comfort of my apartment to my weekly Pilates class. My beloved city, nestled in the heartland of Eastern Europe, had always been a haven of safety and security. Even when walking alone at night, I never felt a tinge of fear or unease. But on this fateful Friday, all that changed. The tranquility and peace that normally enveloped the streets was shattered by an unexpected turn of events, leaving me shaken and vulnerable. After class, I began my usual route home, navigating alleys and shortcuts with ease. But this night felt different. 5 minutes in, as I walked down the deserted street, my heart began to race as I noticed a figure trailing behind me. I tried to ignore the feeling of unease that washed over me, but a quick glance revealed a young man in his 20s following closely behind. His shiny shoes and black coat seemed out of place in this rundown neighborhood, but it was the heavy link chain around his neck that sent chills down my spine. Should I confront him or keep walking? My mind raced with conflicting thoughts as I continued on my way. A wave of fear washed over me as I altered my pace, trying to confirm my suspicions. To my dread, he matched my every speed change. A wave of panic washed over me, but I forced myself to stay focused. My athletic abilities would come in handy right now. With quick reflexes, I darted down the bustling main boulevard, my heart racing with each step. In a sudden burst of desperation, I made an abrupt turn, hoping to lose my pursuer. For a moment, it seemed like I had succeeded, but then I caught a glimpse of him lurking behind me once again. The previously crowded streets now felt eerily quiet and deserted, intensifying the fear pulsing through my body. With a pounding heart and adrenaline coursing through my veins, I rushed inside my apartment, thankful for the safety of my home. However, the true horror of the situation was only just beginning to reveal itself. An hour later, as my husband and I reviewed our building security footage, we were met with a chilling revelation. The man who had been following me hadn't simply disappeared. He had been hiding behind a parked car, his intense gaze fixed on our building. And then, in a final act of violation, he had boldly approached the entrance and snapped a photo of it, capturing not just the image but also my address, my sanctuary now tainted by his presence. Fear gripped me at the thought of this stranger having access to where I call home. Every shadow, every unfamiliar face on the street now carries a tinge of fear. The once familiar streets are now shrouded in an ominous veil, and I am constantly on edge, my senses heightened and alert. The safety that was once a given has been snatched away, replaced by a constant vigilance born out of the terrifying experience of being followed by a stranger with unknown intentions. The memory still haunts me, causing me to jump at every unexpected noise or movement. Fear has become my unwanted companion, lurking in the corners of my mind wherever I go.